Hello everybody, welcome to an iIntro webinar on how iIntro can help you win a managed service program. My name is James O'Brien, I'm the Operations Director of iIntro. I've been in and around the recruitment industry for 30 years and hopefully I'll have some experience I can get the opportunity to share with you in the future. Plymon, why don't you do a brief introduction of yourself?
Well, congratulations first. I've not been in the industry for that long, but over the past 10 years I've been involved with recruitment. We set up a recruitment business in 2007. It was a contingency business, average fee sub 17%. In 2010 we decided to move away from contingent and become retained recruiter. And within a period of 18 months time we managed to achieve that. Our fees have doubled within a short period of time then. And since 2012 we've been doing retained recruitment only in pretty generic vertical markets, obviously with some sort of additional high-level executive search appointments, etc.
Your own recruitment business, what brings that around to a managed service program?
Well, if you think of it, natural progression is recruiters will typically start looking to see if they can get any jobs first, i.e. spot business, contingent. Then they look and see if they can get the clients engaged on exclusivity. Then the natural progression is once you've created some relationships with the clients, you'd be looking to potentially start getting some retained, and eventually you come to the point of where you're starting to look at engaging more meaningful relationship with your clients, where you are looking to get managed service contracts, especially for small businesses. We're not a large business ourselves, so therefore we cannot even dream of having a recruitment process outsourcing or the RPO contracts, which are obviously for the big boys.
Okay, Plymon, let's get on to talk about what the session's about today. So what is a managed service program?
Well, managed service contract is actually a mini RPO. Typically, it could be as little as 10 roles for a period of time or as many as 100 roles. The angle here is that the clients are looking to rationalize the multi-agency agreements that they might have with PSLs. And typically with the managed service programs, they actually extend above and beyond a CV supply because they're looking for total solution.
And how long would these contracts typically last for?
A year, well, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, usually project based.
And so the clients are looking for a service that offers a total recruitment solution, not just a...
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay,
So
great.
ultimately, a PSL will basically be a CV supply process, and ultimately the company needs to process the CVs themselves and go through the assessment and selection themselves. Managed service contract actually does majority of the pre-assessment based on pre-agreed criteria. So for that reason you need to have a system to support it, and also you need to have a process fundamentally.
So summing up a bit where you said earlier, it's like an RPO, the big boys get the RPO, this is our opportunity for the smaller firms to pick up sort of some fixed income on a regular basis. Okay.
They represent actually better value for the recruiter. The reason being is that RPOs are really heavily discounted deals where you benefit from the volume, but you need to have the sufficient economies of scale to be able to support it.
Okay.
With many service contracts, you can charge bigger fees because it's a project-based work.
Sure. And what type of clients actually buy a managed service program?
Typical clients are SMEs that can't afford HR or in-house recruitment teams, departments of larger organizations that are looking to rationalize their supplier base. Those companies that might have an expansion strategy or something else that over a period of time, as a one-off, they might need some assistance in rapid talent.
In your view, why would an employer consider a managed service program?
A lack of internal resource, expertise in systems, rationalization of priorities, if you wish. I mean, we're all busy people. And
so if a company runs something, do what they do best and outsource the rest.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, all right.
Managing relationships with PSLs. Typically that's quite disjointed and the procedures may be different.
That's a high volume of workload for the client, isn't it? Because they've got to manage all of those things,
And it ultimately, as I said a moment ago, they represent better value for money, simply because you don't have to employ staff and there is other elements that actually increase the value for money.
Great. Well, people listen to this. What are the reasons why they should consider managed service programs?
Firstly, the recruitment markets are moving. Clients are no longer relying on CV supply. They want someone to provide them with a total solution. Secondly, If you don't get engaged with this service, you can see that clearly there is a downward pressure on fees, which we've noticed over the past 7-8 years.
Yeah.
That clearly indicates that employers are no longer seeing the CV supply process, so-called, as a value for money.
Yeah.
SME companies need a low risk and affordable solution.
I think, as we said earlier, in terms of when you talked about, you're in fact you're an organisation which is quite general. How does this help organisations who are focusing on being very specialist?
The principles behind it is we're creating actually a methodology that services any market. So being a specialist in a vertical market, even though it's advantage, it's not the critical decision point.
Because clients are looking for the process that sits behind it, not just the
correct, yes.
Well, to try to help people understand why they need to look at it, I'm going to put on the next screen an example from a Bank of England RFP in May 2017. So this is a real live example, or it was a live example last year, of one of the reasons why you need to move. Now, although this is a big contract, we just highlighted one particular part of their requirements in here that you can see on screen there. And I think what fundamentally it's trying to say is actually employers, your clients, are now expecting a lot more than they used to get. So you can see in here they're looking at ATS systems, they're looking at assessment, application management. It's a lot more than just applying CVs. And although this is a large example and would have gone probably to an RPO, it highlights the move, the shift that's happening in the employment market. Is that fair?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, clients are no longer wanting to do the traditional method of recruitment, and they want someone to do it for them.
Yeah.
So therefore, it is clear. This is a very good example of a requirement of videos, tracking systems, the inclusion of psychometrics tests and competency assessments, etc. And that's essentially
it just highlights that a CV is not enough anymore, so we need to go a little bit deeper. So what is in it for you guys in terms of listening in there? What would we say?
Multi-vacancy assignments as opposed to spot business. Fixed guaranteed income, certainty of work that you'll be paid for rather than you're working on a 20% fuel ratio, improved cash flow, you can bankroll a contract like that.
Just take me down to a point a bit further down. Obviously, everybody likes repeat business. That always makes sense to a lot of people. You've got a phrase there called liquid cement. Tell me what that means.
Well, it's not my phrase. I've borrowed it from a senior executive running a top-end RPO business in the northwest of England. And he says basically, once you've actually engaged with the client, the complexity of a contract like that basically stops the clients from having to look at an alternative. In other words, you become not only the preferred supplier, but when it comes to renewal, you just basically roll over the contract unless you've actually done something terribly wrong. It basically is the preferred choice. Once you've locked in a contract, especially a complex contract, the clients would prefer just to continue the relationship as opposed to...
Well, the great news about locking in a contract means that you're locking out the competition.
Absolutely, that's right. The relationships are changing quite dramatically. You're moving away from being a supplier and you're becoming a partner to the business.
Which obviously all bit of it's the holy grail of recruitment, isn't it? Actually, how you're actually treated with some respect. So,
in 2015, we've won a second managed service contract. They had a unique solution that ultimately raised £7 million, and it required a very rapid growth from at the time 16 people to as many as 50. So they needed additional 33 people to be exact of new staff. The roles were quite versatile in terms of salary and position, and we had some chunky roles, but let's say.
And were you a specialist in certain things?
No, that's another important thing. We don't specialize in IoT, and we've identified the client through our marketing processes. We went to see them, and we've explained to them the methodology, the principle behind assessment and selection, and we've given them certain risk reversals. But the key elements were the fact that the clients were looking to approach this on a conventional, typical approach. We did something that was fundamentally different. We don't send CVs to the clients, we take the brief, then we go out there, identify candidates. We then pre-assess the candidates to the point of where once submitted to the client, every single candidate is pre-assessed against a specific benchmark which we've agreed with the client.
So what you're doing here is you're actually introducing this fact that you've got some methodology which overcame your lack of specialism in that area.
Yes.
Yeah. Talk to us about the size of the contract. How do you how do you put your contract together?
The size of the contract was, well, the total requirement, 33 roles, were worth £1.75 million of salary. We've agreed a 15-month term. That was the client's schedule for these appointments. That allowed us and the client as well to prepare for it, i.e. building some talent pool in prior to the appointments.
Mm-hmm.
We've agreed a 20% headline fee level.
And that 20%, I just want to say, because obviously people listen to this and thinking, well, you know, PSL deal, I'd be getting probably 15%.
The fact that many service contracts are not as diluted as the larger contracts.
Yeah.
So essentially, we were able to convince the client that for this sort of unique proposition, because it's crucial for the client to select the right people first time out, there were some additional levels of assessment.
And what did you use to sort of show the client where you could add some value?
We typically use a process called recruitment process audit.
Mm-hmm.
And the recruitment process audit is where we will take a snapshot of the assumed or expected recruitment process, which typically carries 70 to 80% retention rate. This is what generically is, it's a broad figure around in the market. Our rates, our retention rates are considerably higher because we're using, as I said, your three-dimensional assessment. And our clients have benefited in the past with a historical 96% plus retention. Because we were so confident, we were able then to offer the client a further risk reversal by giving a 12-month replacement guarantee at zero cost to the client.
So that means if somebody leaves?
If someone leaves, we'll replace
Wow.
the leaver for free. Now, if you're working on 96% retention, then that means that your risk factor is very low.
But from the client's point of view, when they're thinking of 80% or 20% loss, failure, then obviously it's got considerable value. Talk to us about the fees. So you've got this 358,000 of fees. How do you take the money?
358,000 was the assumed expected fee. So we said for the client, for the benefit of the client, rather than paying ad hoc invoices when we've got a spur of deals, so why don't we just charge a retainer 50% of the value, which you know that we'll basically achieve based on these schedules.
Yeah.
And that gives you a cash flow predictability for the client,
Which is one of the benefits.
as well as for us. So we've got a contractual engagement with the client to pay us £10,000 per month.
Okay.
Now, what's also very important is, as I said to you, we're not specialists in this market sector. We then, on the strength of this contract, went out there and identified someone who was a specialist in this market sector.
And became your lead recruiter for it.
That's right. This person was appointed by us, and as a matter of fact, this person continued to work from the client's office 3 times a week, which was actually
A benefit.
even a better benefit because the clients could interact with this individual.
And how do you get the balance of your fees, Plowman?
The balance of the fees were charged quarterly on the reconciliation against the headline. So in other words, if we've done just for the sake of argument, £50,000 worth of appointments for this particular quarter, and we've invoiced the client on the retainer of 3 times 10, that's 30,000, then we'll send the client the reconciliation fee at the end of each quarter for the difference.
Great. Okay. Well, it's a fascinating case study. Hopefully it helps people understand how these things work in practice. So Plowman, coming to this, we spoke about the recruitment process audit, and I want to share with our listeners today, and to the people watching in, how they engage employers. And we've created a tool called the Recruitment Process Audit Calculator. Helps clients understand the cost of their recruitment process, and it does it in black and white, so it becomes a discussion point to sort of take them on board. How would you describe it?
Well, we've been doing this one for quite some time. This is our own phrase, if you wish, recruitment process audit. And it essentially compares the traditional method of recruitment with the specific client's experience in their retention. So the numbers are being put into the calculator, and this algorithm ultimately delivers the direct and indirect costs broken down specifically, so the client can see with their own input and their own numbers and assumptions what the likely costs going to be if they were to do it in that particular way. Then we show them a comparison of our process and our retention rates, which are as high as 96%. And the clients can see clearly a quantifiable value, taking into account paying a high fee.
Great. Well, it's a really powerful business development tool. As you can see in the link, you're very welcome to register for that webinar. This is a replay, so you can watch it whenever you wish, whenever you're available to spend 30 minutes listening to that, and it'll give you some fantastic information. But moving on, Plumman, obviously we know when you win these contracts, one of the big frightening things is perhaps the legal side of this, actually putting the right legal framework together. So what we do for our clients is actually we help them with a template contract that we've invested in.
Yeah, and we've already paid for this contract. It was designed by a top 100 law firm in the UK. We've already discussed it, negotiated it, and it's ultimately a template, as you can see here on the screen.
Let's take people down through that template here that we see. So just we'll highlight some of the key points for people.
Well, the yellows are the ones that you need to complete, but essentially the contract terms are broadly spec'd out there.
Yeah. Come down, I just want to highlight one of the big changes we make. It's in clause 3 here, specifically 3.3. This is where we will amend or where you've amended the terms from the 12-week rebate or replacement
to a 52-week rebate.
Which
not
is
rebate, but replacement.
Replacement, of course, yeah. We don't do rebates, do we?
No, they're pointless.
Yeah, indeed. But I just want to pick you up on this schedule, because this is a schedule that you gave to us in that example there, isn't it?
That's exactly right. This is the actual. We've obviously taken the client's name and the details, but the roles are the ones that you see here.
Yeah.
The salaries are the ones that the clients were recruiting at, and we've said month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
This was actually associated specifically to the months when the clients plan to have these hires to start employment. The advantage is if you actually have a schedule like that, the clients can plan their strategy of implementation, i.e. employment and onboarding, as well as we could do a bit of homework here and do some talent pooling in advance, knowing exactly what the roles are going to be and at what level.
Yeah.
So any promotional advertising we can actually do in advance and prepare for it.
And again, the client, it's good for them on their cash flow because they've got the predictable, regular retained fee, and then they've got the quarterly reconciliations there. Just want to go down here. There's a couple of things that we come to on this next schedule, the agreed process or the service level agreement.
Yeah.
So these are the typical things that you might expect to see. So, defining the role, the how you're going to go out to market and find the candidates, how you're going to assess and evaluate them. There's one thing I particularly want to pick up here, Plan, because I think it's fascinating. And it's obviously this part which helps you give that 12-month replacement. Yes. But actually, when we talk about risk reversal, you've risk reversed it to yourself. Well,
that's true. As you can see here in this clause, we offer a 360-degree feedback, re-interviewing the candidates in month 1, 3, 6 and 12. Essentially what we achieve here is we put a point system 1 to 5, 1 being terrible, 5 being excellent, and we interview the candidates. The candidates give us the feedback. We score them independently based against a pre-agreed questionnaire that the clients and us agree. So essentially we have our hands on the pulse and understand.
Which is also part of this liquid cement, I think, because it keeps you engaged and involved with the clients.
I mean, the contract had also another term which was quite reasonable to put forward. In the unlikely event that the clients decide to terminate the contract before its expiry,
you were obliged to sort of maintain this.
We wouldn't oblige to actually maintain the 12 months replacement.
And obviously this term comes down your standard terms which would be attached as part of the contract. And, and as you mentioned, Plan, it's been created by a top 100 law firm in the UK. So again, it's a fantastic template for people to use. So coming back in there, let's just continue this. So what do you get from iIntro, or what will our listeners get today, the support they'll get from us? So why don't you talk us through some of those?
Firstly, we provide an online solution that is cloud-based, very easy to operate and deliver pre-assessed candidates to the clients. It's accessible 24/7, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
We'll also offer at no additional cost the recruitment process audit calculator, which is fully branded and positioned on your website, and it has also the capability of inbound lead generation with some marketing support, i.e. we provide sequence emails, etc. Full training on the board processes.
I think it's a really important part, Plan, because this isn't just about somebody buying a software tool, is it? No, it's about how we're going to help you implement the processes, the systems, and go out there not only to deliver on the platform, but actually how to sell and market using the platform. I think that's critical as well.
That's right. Yeah. And last but not least, value add at the end is the contractual documentation, the service level agreement that's already been designed. Obviously, it's a template. You can change it to suit the client's specification and requirement.
But we've got lots more templates as well within
Yes.
the package. So a full support package to give you the best opportunity of actually going out there and winning this work.
Yep.
So what people need to do is essentially they need to take some action.
Yes, and this is a very bespoke solution, so therefore I would hope that if this was of interest to you today, people will just go ahead and book a private or personal consultation with me.
Yep.
And on that fact, then we'll just take it forward in terms.
I think what will happen in that consultation is you'll go through everything from pricing, in terms of how our system works and what it means. That's why you say it's bespoke and customised for each person. If you want to call Plarman, you can see his number there. It really does have 6 zeros. Or you can email him if you want. We're going to give everybody who's attended today a copy of Plarman's ebook called The Death of Contingency. Give Plarman's views on why he thinks you need to move away, or at least transition away from the contingent to more defined income.
Contractual retained work, whether it be managed service contract or a single placements, one or the other, I'd rather work on retained rather than contingency.
Great, well, it's been great speaking to you today. Hope you found it of interest and value, and we look forward to seeing you on one of the consultations. Bye-bye.
Thank you.